Welcome back to GHToday here on GH1 TV. Thank you very much for staying tuned. And my guests are here in the studio, and so we'll get into our conversations very soon. And before we get into our conversations this morning, let me just tell you about Koa Mixture and what Koa Mixture is doing for you. You know that your body has got natural defenses, right? And these natural defenses are called the immune system. And once these defenses are compromised, then it leaves room for all kinds of diseases to attack the body. And you do not want that to happen. You want to make sure that your immune system is always strong and always taking very good care of you and preventing all kinds of diseases that attack the body from putting you down. And this is where Koa Mixture comes in. Koa Mixture is a herbal medicine that supports the human body for your general well-being. And it comes in a colorless liquid form. And all you need to do is just begin to take Koa Mixture for your general well-being. So get a bottle of Koa Mixture today and restore your health. It's available in pharmacy shops, over-the-counter medicine sellers and health shops. It's produced by the Koa Research and Manufacturing Company Limited. And it's not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers and children under the age of 12. And this is FDA approved. For bulk purchase, contact any of these numbers. In Cape Coast, call 0244 726611. And in Accra, call 0249 778187. And in Kumasi, call 0249 739 116. Koa Mixture is for your general well-being. I mentioned that my guests are here in the studio. The Honorable Member of Parliament for the Sisala West constituency, Sisala East constituency. The Sisala West constituency MP was here in the studio, I think, on Monday. So the Sisala East constituency MP is here in the studio. He hasn't been here in a while. We're very happy to see him this morning. He's also the Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Honorable Amidu Isaha Kuchinia. Good morning.
Good morning, Lantam.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes.
What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been around. And working in the ministry and then in the constituency. I just returned from the constituency yesterday.
How are the constituency people doing?
Oh, they're doing well.
That is good to know.
This is a farming season, and over 90% of the constituents are farmers. And so at this time, everybody is busy on his farm, his or her farm. And the Sisala people are hardworking people. I have said before that we are the leading producer of maize. We produce a lot of maize, and throughout the year from January to December, you have long tracks of vehicles carrying maize from the Sisala land to all parts of Ghana. Our contribution to the national economy is significant.
Well, that's good to know. And we hope that the people of the Sisala area will continue to provide us with all the maize that we need. Also here in the studio this morning, my next guest is a member of the NDC. It's actually the first time that we're having him here on the platform. We're very, very happy and privileged to have Dr. Sharif Khalid here in the studio this morning. He's an associate professor and a member of the NDC's communications team. Doc, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us here in the studio. We hope that you enjoy being on our panel this morning.
My pleasure.
Also in the studio is a member of the PNC, Bernard Mona. He's also a farmer and one of the lead members of Arise Ghana. Good morning, Bernard.
Good morning, sir.
It's never a good morning for you.
It's a long time I've not seen him.
No, it's exciting to see the full representation of the Upper West, more or less. This is about 80% of the Upper West in your house.
Oh, is that so?
This is a Sisala man, this is a Wala man, and this is a Dagao. So all of us from the Upper West, maybe the other segments in the Upper West are not, they are about 20% or less.
So this is the Upper West Caucus?
Well, Upper West United. And then I agree with the Honorable Chinia that the Sisala zone is the biggest producer of maize. And the more reason why in this farming season it is inappropriate for the Electoral Commission to be subjecting people who be busy trying to produce food to engage in an exercise that is in contention.
Well, we'll get to that.
Don't worry about that. We'll get to that. I just wanted to let you know that when we are speaking, we are not speaking out of vacuum. We speak out of the realities because we have lived the times. And so even the minister himself admits that this is not an easy time for farmers. No farmer would really cherish the time of allowing your crops to suffer for you to go and do voter registration. And so when we are talking, we apply home sense in some of these situations. Well, but I'm happy to see Sheriff as well. He's always run to the UK, but now he's back. I hope this time he'll stay longer.
Yeah, I'm in for the long haul.
Well, it's good to have you all in the studio. Let's get into the issues. Quite a lot to unpack, quite a lot to talk about this morning here on the show. And we'll begin with the voter registration exercise because today is day 3 of the voter registration exercise. And I've been telling you that if you are a Ghanaian adult, you are 18 years and above, or you've turned 18 in the last 3 years since the 2020 registration exercise, or perhaps you've never registered to be a voter before, but now you want to register so that you can exercise your franchise, now is the time to do it. You need to take advantage or take a hold of this opportunity and do so. So find your nearest district office and go and do your voter registration and get your voter's ID card so that in the year 2024 you can vote. But the general issue about the voter registration exercise has been how the EC has decided to do it. The EC had decided that they would do it in their various district offices. They were told that that was not going to help because there are many people who may be deprived of coming to the district offices to come and register because of where they live, because of the communities where they are. And so it may be very difficult for them to come and register. And so the EC should do what it has always done. The last voter registration exercise, I mean, they had about 1,500 centers or so where they were doing this, right? Various, electoral areas and polling stations and what have you. This time around, they are restricting it to just the district offices. And that's about 250 or 251 offices or so. And that is raising a concern. So the NDC, the CPP, the APC, the GCPP, and I think one other political party, the LPG, I believe, have all gone to court, gone to the Supreme Court on this matter. They faced a little bit of an obstacle there with regard to getting a date for the hearing and the Chief Justice having to come in and all of that. But private citizens, sent this matter to a high court, indicating that what the EC was doing was going to deprive them of being able to vote because they will not be able to register because of where they live. And the EC has been duly served. The EC went ahead and started the registration exercise. The EC has been cited for contempt, and they are blatantly, going about the registration exercise, right? And this is raising serious concerns for quite a lot of people. But the EC believe that this is the best approach that they can adopt, and they are going ahead with the limited voter registration exercise. The NDC is not happy about it. For example, when you take a look on page 6 of the Daily Post newspaper, let me read maybe the first 2 paragraphs. It says, the largest opposition party, the NDC, is urging the Economic Community of West African States to call the Electoral Commission to order. And the party is accusing the Electoral Commissioner, Jean Adukoye-Mensah, of engaging in voter suppression with its decision to conduct the ongoing voter registration exercise in the district offices across the country. Addressing journalists, the NDC's chairman, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, urged the regional bloc, ECOWAS, to be proactive in safeguarding the country's democracy. The NDC chairman also says the ongoing limited voter registration exercise, which commenced on September 12, has been riddled with several irregularities, particularly in the party's strongholds. This irresponsible and unconscionable decision by the Commission confirms the NDC's long-held view that the Jean Mensah-led EC is determined to rig the 2024 elections through voter suppression, but she will fail because we are ready for them. Aside its potential suppression of registration and voting, the EC's decision to restrict the voter registration to its district offices can promote and facilitate gerrymandering, as agents of political parties will find it difficult to challenge persons who may be bussed from one constituency to another to register. He continued, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the NDC, there are 4 other political parties who are plaintiffs in the instant case at the Supreme Court, and has, as already indicated, the PNC has also thrown its weight behind the suit. This is what the NDC say. But the registration exercise is ongoing. It's day 3. Honorable Chinia, let me begin with you on this. Do you believe that the EC is doing the right thing? I mean, the concern has been they are independent body, they can do what they think is right, but if there are concerns that are being raised, they should also listen.
Well, thank you, Lantam, and let me say good morning to the people of Sisala East, and of course, everybody listening to me this morning, and good morning to my colleague panelists. It has been a long while I've not seen my brother Bernard, the potential flag bearer aspirant for the PNC. By his heart, I don't know, the stars, have they increased or?
There are still 3 stars.
There are still 3 stars.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think that this is part of the process to having a free and fair election. And every effort must be made to ensure that the processes leading to the election itself are seen and, in fact, are credible. I come from a constituency which is so vast, and you have people who may have to travel 2-3 hours from their communities to the district capital or the municipal capital, Tumu. And so having one registration center in the EC's constituency office, to a very large extent, in my view, is not the best, especially considering where I come from or the constituency I represent in Parliament. I mean, anybody who knows Sisala East, at the moment we cover about 23% of the total land mass of Upper West. Sisala East. We have 11 constituencies, and we alone occupies a space of 23% of the total land mass. And so you have some of the communities don't actually even do business in Tumu. I have a community in my constituency called Como. They do everything in Northeast because they're closer to Northeast than the municipal capital.
Right.
I have some other communities, including the Santijan, Gunawisi, Kalaksi, who also do virtually everything in Upper East because of proximity. Because the distance from those communities to the municipal capital is so far. You need 2-3 hours to travel to get there. And so when you have an exercise like this where people have to travel long distances to get registered, you can imagine the cost. You can imagine the time. And you can look at it from across the country. And I can imagine how people are going to struggle trying to get to the EC office. We all understand and appreciate the fact that it is a limited registration because you are looking about maybe those who have turned 18 from the last registration and probably the few people who have not been able to register in the last registration. So you have a limited targeted people you are looking at. But all the same, creating more space and widening the network for people to easily get access to the registration centers will help. Valentam, there is something that bothers my mind, even though I disagree with the current situation. I think it makes registration a bit difficult. But you see, the NDC and other political parties, the way they communicate about this matter, it appears that it is their voters who have been denied the chance to register. I mean, the people who are coming to register are Ghanaians. They are qualified to register. And at the end of the day, you and I cannot tell where they will vote. Some could be voting for MPP, some would be voting for NDC, some will be voting for PNC. But it's as though it is NDC people who have been denied the chance to register. I mean, those who have turned 18.
Well, they are saying a lot of issues are cropping up in NDC strongholds.
It's not true. I mean, it's all
network problems.
It's all part of their systemic arrangement to undermine the Electoral Commission and to have reasons to say that the election has been rigged in 2024.
Is that so?
Yes, that is all what they are doing.
So you don't think they are raising genuine concerns? I mean, there are people who are in court. Right now, the EC has been cited for contempt because of what they are doing now.
I have said that.
And they are still going ahead with their registration exercise.
I have said that.
These not legitimate concerns that are being raised by the political
I have said that as far as the number of registration centers are concerned, I am concerned. Because I know where I come from. And I know the situation. And I know the challenge is posing to me as Member of Parliament and my party in terms of getting our people to register. But you see,
the party seems to be okay with it.
That cannot be the case. That is the decision of the Electoral Commission. It is not my party's decision. I mean, some of us disagree with the decision of the Electoral Commission.
I mean, so there are some of you who believe that, well, if the AC wants to do it there, then they should do it there. You really don't have any problem with it. I mean, I've had some communicators say that.
That is what I have said, that this is a limited registration.
Right.
That you are looking at a certain small percentage of Ghanaians who have turned 18 and some who didn't probably register the last election, even though they were 18. So you are looking at that category of people. That may be, I don't know the percentage. You look at it from population growth and all that. But notwithstanding that, considering the nature of some of the constituencies, maybe in these urban areas it could be better, because you can have a constituency which is very populated, but within a very small area that everybody can easily get access to the Electoral Commission office. But there are even some small constituencies in terms of numbers or population. But it is spread over a large area of land.
Yeah.
That traveling from one point to the EC's office, like in my constituency, will take you 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So getting people to travel that far to come and register, the inconvenience, the cost involved will frustrate them.
You've made that
so
point.
I have said that. I largely disagree with the number of centers that are using to do this registration. But this is not the first time this is happening. But I have been a constituency secretary for a long time, and what I know is that in some of those cases, even where they agree that they use the Electoral Commission office as the registration center, they are able to allow the registration officials, together with the political parties, to move from electoral area to electoral area. So, for instance, maybe in the district capital, they can do 3 days. Then they move to another electoral area and do say 1 or 2 days. So that you take the registration closer to the people, so that it becomes easier for them. And for me, that would have been the best arrangement. But I am also saying that the NDC should not say that the decision of the Electoral Commission is more or less maybe the MPP decision, or it favors MPP. How? The people who are coming to register, you don't know which parties they belong to. Or you want to say that everybody turning 18 years today is an NDC member or is a PNC member. That cannot be the case. There are Ghanaians who are qualified to register, and we all want them to register, and we all go to them and make a case. When new people are registered, they enter the electoral roll. It is my duty as a member of parliament who wants to retain, to get to them and let them appreciate why they should retain me and retain my party. So it is not something that is reserved for the NDC, to say that it is their people who are being denied. And for the challenges you are talking about, Lantam, it is across. It is not true that only that they will choose to cite areas which they think that they are strongholds. They should give us the national statistics of what is going on in all the polling stations or all the centers, so that we know that, okay, out of the 275 registration centers, all places that are perceived MPP strongholds, everything is smooth. and all places specific to NDC strongholds, everything is wrong. You can't go and just mention 2-3 constituencies that probably NDC is strong and say because there are challenges there. Have you given us what is happening in other constituencies? But I can tell you that the challenges are in all constituencies or most constituencies, not just constituencies that NDC think that they are strong. In any case, your stronghold today can become your weak point tomorrow. There are constituencies MPP held in 2016. By 2020, we lost them. And there were others that NDC held. By 2020, they lost it. And you cannot say that in 2024, every constituency or every stronghold for the NDC in 2020 is going to remain the same. And same is applicable to MPP. No, election is like a living organism. It changes depending on the dynamics and the tactics people will apply, depending on the caliber of people who contest the election. So today this place can be your stronghold, but tomorrow it can change and favor your opponent. And where you are weak can turn and favor you. It all depends on the dynamics in the election.
So what do you make of the NDC's call on ECOWAS to step in because the EC wants to suppress voters or do voter suppression?
You know, they're just making too much unnecessary noise to draw attention.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're just making too much. I mean, Ghana's democracy.
But you have just alluded to the fact that the EC's modus operandi for this limited registration exercise is problematic.
Yes.
And it would obviously deny a lot of people from being able to get onto the register. Is that not a form of voter suppression?
You see, Lantam, the fact that something is not the best does not mean that it undermines the system totally.
But in
you see,
way
the right to be registered as a voter is not an absolute right. It does not mean that when you turn 18, you must just be a voter, because you can choose not to even register.
But if you choose to, it should be easy for you.
I'm coming. I'm just making the point that the right to become a voter, when qualified, is not absolute. There will be processes set and put in place, and you have to go through those processes to qualify you to enjoy your right. That is why I say it's not absolute. If the processes put in place, you don't go through that process, that your right cannot be enjoyed. But you can also claim that you have been denied the right. So when the structures are put in place for you to go through that structure to enjoy your right, as a responsible citizen, you need to do everything possible to go through that process to enjoy your right.
But shouldn't the process be made easy for you? Because if there is a certain way,
how many times do you want me to?
Yeah, but
how many times do you want me to repeat?
Yes.
I have agreed that the system is
but you are talking about the rights, right? So if I have, if I have a right to education, for example, and the government, which is supposed to provide me with the education, doesn't make a school available to me, and the school is far away from me, let's say it's miles far away from me, and because of that, in my immediate area, I have to travel and I don't have the means to travel. Isn't that a way of denying me my rights because the government has not provided the school for me, my community, for me to be able to access the education? Is it not the same way with the voting? You see, because if I have a right and I have to go through the process, and it's not been made easy for me to go through the process, isn't that a form of denying me of my right?
You see,
or hampering my right?
The Electoral Commission is required from time to time to update their register, especially preceding elections.
They're even supposed to be doing it yearly.
Yes,
but they've not in the last 3 years.
I think we are now getting there. That every day you can register.
Yeah.
I mean, but the point is that before looking at the everyday registration, the practice has been that preceding every election, whether assembly or general election, the Electoral Commission does a limited registration to give opportunity to those whose names are not there but qualified to be there to register. And I'm saying that the most important thing is for the Electoral Commission to give the opportunity. And it is your duty or responsibility as a qualified person to go through the process established to become a registered voter. But there is a difference between denying you your right to register and vote and also putting in place or allowing you to register, but probably the system put in place is not that all favorable. So in this case, I don't think that the Electoral Commission is denying people their right to register. It's just that, in my view, the processes put in place is a bit difficult and expensive for potential voters to register. But nobody's been denied the opportunity. If the Electoral Commission had not opened the opportunity for people to register, then it will mean that they are taking away people's right to register and vote. But here is the case, they are doing it. But some of us disagree with the way they are doing it, because they could have done it better such that it becomes easier for everybody.
All right.
So the right to register and vote is not absolute. And so whatever system the Electoral Commission has put in place, people must take responsibility and do everything to register. And we political parties must assist them. It is not easy, but we have to assist them.
All right, Dr. Khalid, let me come to you now on this matter. It's your party that has a very serious problem with the processes, and accusing the EC of voter suppression, trying to do gerrymandering, calling on ECOWAS to intervene, among other things.
Well, I was thinking when the Honourable Minister was speaking and made or alluded to the fact that all of the issues happening are actually inimical to persons who have qualified and have reached the legal age to exercise their rights to vote, happened, and agreed that these things were all happening around most of these constituencies and made it very difficult and an expensive venture. I thought that you said that the MPP were going to join the NDC and other coalition of political parties to push this forward. But if we're not helping with that, then we turn around to say we are blowing hot air. Then I find it very interesting to think that why would you want to say that we are blowing hot air? You have a problem with the situation, yet you are not supporting the coalition of parties that are coming together to do this. But that's just by the way. I can actually understand that, because if we are actually under a political dispensation where the president's chair has access in crisscrossing the length and breadth of the country, then an average voter who has turned 18 and wants to move to a center to register, this is the kind of situation we will have. But the issue is that who is setting the EC up? The EC is setting itself up. Right. Why could it not? When we say limited voter registration exercise, what are we talking about? Is the limitation, designated by period, or is a designation by the number of registration centers? I think the EC ought to be clear with this. Right. So if it starts to do this, look,
limited as in it's not everyone who would get on.
Yeah, so that's where I'm coming.
Already on the register.
Right.
So limited for those who are
so why don't you then make it accessible to everyone?
We are registering everybody or compiling a new register, right?
So that's what I'm saying. So these ambiguities are first hiding behind limitations and not limitations, and what it is neither here nor there. That's what I was just trying to raise or flag. So what it means is that if we are making it accessible to each and everyone that has qualified across the length and breadth of the country, it means that anyone in his or her polling station should be able to walk out there. Mind you, we invested lots of money of the taxpayers in equipping the EC to be able to carry out these exercises. We bought equipment, BVRs and what have you. What's happening? Why is it that we're limiting it to these centers? I just returned from WA. I met Honorable, fortunately, at the airport whilst we were returning yesterday. And I witnessed the exercise at first hand. In my own constituency, WA Central, if someone was to move from, let's say, Siriri or Busoiri to come to WA, all the way to Nakore to register, it's going to be very difficult because of the distance. Not just the distance, and there was a heavy downpour yesterday. And when that happens, you know how deplorable our roads are and the likes of that. So I think that the EC in and of itself is trying not to make the exercise or to allow people who have qualified to register.
Well, the EC talks also about safeguarding the integrity of the register, and they believe that when we are voting, are you not going to that they have a very
when we are voting, are we not going to deploy to all polling stations? Right? Will that mar the integrity of the exercise?
Well, the integrity of the register.
So how would deploying it
qualified get onto the register?
No, but how will that mar it? Can they help? Right? That you open up to polling stations, ask people to have accessibility. That mars the process. I think the EC is becoming very regimented, and I think there's a modern institution, and it ought to move in tandem with time and modernity. Right. So in all of these investments, I was teasing the chaps at the Nakori area, the district office in Wa. When I went in there, saw very heavy duty equipment, more like military, hardware, and the internet modem they were using to connect to these. So I was teasing. I said, your machines are more heavier than your internet access, so you don't have a Wi-Fi service within your electoral office. And we all laughed over it. But these are some of the logistical issues. Right. I was there the whole day from morning to about afternoon. It was switching on and off. And if we say we have issues with our strongholds, we have listed our strongholds. If you have issues or you don't have issues with your strongholds, then you say you don't have issues with your strongholds. We don't owe anyone an obligation to churn out figures of the entire country. We have our strongholds, and we know that this is what has happened in our strongholds. So we are coming out to say this is what it is. You go to a place like Wa East in the Upper West region again. I mean, they have two aerial councils. We have Fancy and we have Boulen, right? These two areas, the distance involved, right, to commute from Boulen to Fancy or to move from Manwe to Fancy where the registration center is, we're talking about 70 kilometers here. So are we not already denying people their rights? I don't know how to describe this. Right. We're talking about a country that we're in the 21st century. We talk about subscribing to SDGs and the likes of that, allowing people to have access, to be able to vote. At the end of the day, come 2024, it's part of the Sustainable Development Goals. So we can't just go around hopping around international conferences, box-ticking exercises, taking allowances and coming back home to subject our people to these kind of issues simply because we have power. But in any case, why is the MPP not joining if they think that if they think the system is wrong? They should help all political parties. We are not saying that we are fighting this as NDC. We're fighting it for the good people of Ghana. So if the MPP, as a legitimate political party, in its patriotic spirit, thinks that there's something wrong with it and has conceded, as the Honorable alluded to, they should join us to fight this. Right? But one thing you are missing, I think that the media should be commending the NDC. I mean, for calling on ECOWAS and not hitting the streets, tells you that the NDC is a disciplinary party, very disciplined in its rights, and is calling on a legitimate international sub-regional group to actually help in fixing this situation.
But is it only NDC people who may vote for the NDC that are going to be affected?
No, we are not. But
because the Honorable Member of Parliament, alluded to the fact that, it may be in because the picture is being painted as though it is only in NDC strongholds that we are having all of these issues.
Don't do that. That's not what the picture
because
is.
you're also accusing the issue of trying to do gerrymandering.
That is not what the picture
all of
is.
that.
What we're saying is,
do you know?
We are advocating.
Do you know who is going to vote for you?
No, we are advocating.
Person who is going to vote for you?
There are two.
So if that
here.
picture is painted, isn't it problematic?
No, I think that you are painting the picture. We are not. Right, you're
but
interpreting.
That's what you said.
No,
that's what the NDC has alluded to.
That
you want to do gerrymandering, that in your strongholds,
but if you say
issues are cropping up, and so it's painting the picture as though there's a certain systematic. And your party chairman said it, that you are convinced that the EC wants to rig the 2024 elections by all the actions that they are engaged in.
No, but
if you allow me, I'll read what Johnson Asiedun Ketia said here.
Yeah.
He says, this is a responsible and unconscionable decision of the Commission, confirms the NDC's long-held view that the Jean Mensah-led EC is determined to rig the 2024 elections through voter suppression. But she will fail because we are ready for them. So your party's chairman is saying that the actions of the EC is deliberate because they want to rig the 2024 elections.
We are a political party.
Yes.
What justifies this process? If there's no justification, can I? You've read this. Can I?
Yes. But the question I'm asking in relation to that is that there are many people who may end up getting disenfranchised. So they may be MPP or NDC or PNC or CPP or whatever. I think that you're trying to
you're trying to rewrite this article or the words of the party chairman. What he's simply saying is that we're advocating for every Ghanaian in any nook and cranny of the country, any hamlet and cottage of the country, to have access to this exercise and be able to exercise their franchise come December 2024. However, our strongholds, we catalogued it to say that these are our strongholds and these are the issues affecting our strongholds. Are we not allowed to do the same? Mm-hmm. So whilst advocating for all and sundry to be a part of the process, we are selecting issues that we think affect us as a political party. Mm-hmm. So as a political party, we are leading two fights here. Our strongholds and fighting for the generality of the good people of Ghana, for those that have turned 18. Do you get the clarity?
Yeah, so when you say they want to rig the election,
but my point is, no.
In what way?
My point, you shouldn't be asking this question, the obvious, because the point is, if an EC decides to act this way, disenfranchise people already, because not even give them access and equip them the right to be able to vote, what logical conclusion would a political party have except to say that it's manning up to rig the election? If you want
to rig it in favor of who? In favor of the MPP?
No, but in favor of whoever is not making noise, thinks that everything is okay.
So the EC wants to rig the elections in favor of the MPP.
Whoever is not making noise and think everything is okay. If you can infer from that.
No, but you see, you are a political party.
Yes.
And if you are complaining about the EC wanting to rig an election, definitely it will not be the EC wanting to rig the election in your favor, because
but if it was in our favor, why would we be complaining?
Exactly.
So you have your answers.
You have your MPP. So for the MPP,
for whoever is not complaining,
for the ruling government,
for whoever is not complaining,
because they are doing the registration
so for whoever is not complaining, you can draw the inferences from there. So what we are saying is that if any logical reason could not be given, right, for what is happening now, what else could we conclude as a political party? And again, why is the MPP not up to support other political parties? At least my brother and his political party, Bernard Mona, it's with us. Other political parties are with us, and other groupings or civil society are with us as a political entity, and we form a group. So if they want to join us, we will become a formidable force to fight this. But yet they are not joining, and they're saying it's not okay. So which is? But right, as I told you, the president's chair has access to various constituencies on free fuel, on the national purse, than the child that have just turned 18 in Zabsuk Tatale. Is that the kind of country you want to witness? So all what we are saying is that, can they decentralize this as much as possible? It's the 21st century, right? What are we holding back? We've spent so much of the taxpayers' money equipping the EC to do these exercises. We spend so much of the taxpayers' money in buying all of this or purchasing these equipment. So decentralize it to the various places. Again, I'll give you another example. Whilst in WA, people came in, these machines were malfunctioning. And when it's 5 p.m., they have to close. These kids have come 70 kilometers. What happens is that they don't have homes in WA. So the political party is burdened, or whoever it is, or wherever they are. So we are even subjecting them to, conditions that they shouldn't be, in the name of trying to just register and have the right to cast a vote and decide who becomes president, member of parliament, or assemblyman. I think that we should stop all these international box-ticking issues and practicalize what we have to practicalize to get the country running and to be as democratic as we can.
Okay.
As of now, the exercise is not democratic and it's not decentralized.
All right. Let me come to you now, Bernard Mona, on this issue. The EC has also been cited for, contempt. You were not parties to the suit, but I had the NDC chairman say that, the PNC throws their weight behind whatever action is being taken in court against the EC on these matters. But the EC is adamant. They're still going on with the registration, even though they've been cited for contempt.
A very good morning to the MP and Honorable Deputy Minister. He's enjoyed the position of Deputy Minister for many years, from the Upper West region as Deputy Minister. One would have thought that President Akufo-Addo would have elevated him to some substantive ministerial position, but he still finds him as a deputy minister, which I am not excited about. I think that having served as deputy minister, he needed to be upgraded. And of course, to my kid brother, Sheriff, who sneaks in and out of town. And of course, yourself. I've not seen Sawa in a long while. I pray she's well.
She's well.
Okay, good. What are we talking about here? We are talking about a constitutional mandate that is being vitiated violently by an electoral commission that is impervious to advice and reason. And it's important that all of us as citizens must rise against an electoral commission that does not listen to its citizens. The Electoral Commission says it's independent in its work, and that no one can dictate or direct the Electoral Commission to do its work. And you ask, to what extent is the Electoral Commission independent? Because if you read Article 1 of the 1992 Constitution, it tells you who owns or have the real power in our society. And Article 1 is clear that sovereignty resides in the people, the citizens, and we constitute the people. And that the exercise of that sovereignty is done on our behalf. So in exercising our sovereign right, we elect a president. And that president also appoints, not elect, appoints persons into the Electoral Commission. The appointer is subject to the power of the people. But persons that he has appointed are not subject to the power of the people. Ridiculous. Now, move away from Article 1 of the 1992 Constitution and go to Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution. It says that anyone 18 years of age and above is entitled to be registered and should be registered by the Electoral Commission. 18 years and above is correct.
Yes.
But there is a certain lacuna that I have been trying for us to resolve. It says that of sound mind. And I think that the proponents of the Constitution probably did not do a good job. It must not be for those who want to register, but also those who are managing the processes to check whether they are also of sound mind. Because some of the actions that are taking place and the pronouncements of members of the Electoral Commission, as for the soundness of mind of some of them, I doubt. Because your duty as a commission, first and foremost, is to get people onto a voters register. How do you get people into the voters register? By encouraging them, coaxing them, so that they can understand the value of registration, of obtaining or being on the voters register. But you have some ones of the Electoral Commission who comes to tell you that voting is not by force. You are paid to ensure that you compile a voters register, and you come and tell me that voting is not by force, so whether I come to register or not, it's not your duty. Really. That is why you have to check the soundness of mind of those who are managing our electoral body. Because I think that pronouncements like this will call for psychiatric review. This is Dr. Bosman Asari telling us that voting is not compulsory, and that is why they have chosen to limit. Look, it is not anybody's creation that we have 6,272 electoral areas. Why do you create electoral areas? To make electoral activities more available to the citizens. We have 275 constituencies and only 267 districts. Come and all political parties, without exception, you are doing this largely for the political parties. All political parties, without exception, say that this exercise should be denominated to the lowest level of the elections. In fact, if you cannot go to the lowest level, it is the polling station, do at least in the 6,272 electoral areas. The Electoral Commission in an IPAC sits with the political parties. After the meeting, they say, you go. The next time they are hearing, you go and issue a statement and say that you are going to do it in your district offices. If this doesn't constitute arrogance, if it doesn't constitute pomposity, if it doesn't constitute bellyful belching, I don't get it. I don't get it. Look, chiefs and traditional leaders have spoken. I'm sure you have the God's Ohini's speech, where he pointed that, look, what the Electoral Commission is doing now will allow some misfits who have money to buzz people, to accommodate them and compel them to register, and by extension, buy their loyalty when they are not competent to represent various constituencies. Aren't we seeing this in Bimbala and many other places? Where people, new registrants, are being given money. Then they go and register and take their cars, and the cars numbers are taken. The chief's fears are being confirmed. If you intend to run for elections, particularly against the Honorable Chinia, and you want your people to register, it means that you have to ensure that persons from within your area, your zone, get onto the voters register. That comes with an enormous financial burden. Even the Honorable Chinia sitting here will have to send money, if he has not already done so that people can move from their various places to come. If they get to Tumu and they are not able to register, it is his duty to feed them and to accommodate them so that they will be able to register. This is common sense. By the way, what are we talking about? Common, if you take the